Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have trawled the wilderness, and yet again I somehow scraped this guy up. All yours, MC. Sorry, Nomad.
Trolled is the word.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start. Let's start
Yeah.
once again. Where since everyone still has this on their brains for some reason, start with the Rittenhouse trial. All right. Once again, now in Kenosha, Wisconsin, protesters upset over the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse marched in Kenosha on Sunday in the presence of the Second Amendment supporting father daughter duo armed with AR 15s that they said were there to protect the demonstrators. Hey, I got a story for all of you on this. Okay? Not news. Okay? Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whether or not this guy, Eric Jordan, and his 16-year-old daughter, Jade, care or not, it's pretty damn obvious, all right, to me. Quite frankly. Are you going to start? Let's start with this. Would you bring your 16-year-old daughter to a freaking protest? You
No.
might. Depends. No, that's far. But would you bring her to a protest? You expect anybody to actually open fire and turn into a riot?
No. That is dumb as all hell. Doing
Okay.
that.
What makes this guy think that anybody cares about him and his daughter carrying AR-15s?
It was done purely as a show-off point. You know it.
It's done because these people are idiots. All right, it's done because
Actually.
when I say these people, I'm not talking about this guy and his daughter. I'm talking about the news. All right.
Yep.
I'm talking about the people who write the news. The media are a bunch of freaking idiots. This isn't a story. This is no more of a story than anything else. If they had to defend themselves and killed people, so be it. Right? Now, I'd like to know what they're defending themselves from. All right? But if they're being chased after with people hitting them in the head, if some guy came up to him, and I'm serious about this, totally serious. Let's say some jackass, and you've already seen this, runs up behind this guy and it smacks him in the back of the head, right, knocking his little beanie off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have no problem with him being shot
No.
because you attacked the guy. This is just the
Yep.
start of a mob action, especially if there's a crowd. This is the start of a mob action. I would have no problem if he opened fire and killed you. Just like I have no problem with that guy who shot the person who stole his Nazi flag off of his porch, right? When there was a whole group of them at a party nearby, right?
Yeah.
And they were all being loud, and you know that they were pointing at this guy. You know what they were that it wasn't just this person that she was being egged on, and she paid the price. She got shot.
Yep.
And they want to go, well, he didn't, how could he do something like that? You showed him absolutely no respect. In fact, you went to the point of intentionally trying to harm him and his property. I have no problem with him shooting you as a mob
Yeah.
because you know that she did that, right? Was running back to the rest of those assholes, right? And as they were cheering until the bullets rang
Yeah.
out.
He's shooting. He's shooting. Well, they deserved it.
You were
Quite
robbing him,
simply.
okay?
Yeah.
We used to make light of people putting shooting people with buckshot and not buckshot but birdshot, right, in the ass,
Yeah.
right, because they were doing something unsavory, right.
Yeah.
And it's part of the Americana, believe it or not, in the folklore of Americana. The thing is birdshot can kill you too.
Yeah.
It's not likely, but it is possible to kill somebody by shooting them with a shotgun full of birdshot.
Yeah.
You know, and back then nobody thought even people were making jokes about it. You know, rock salt or shooting people with a shotgun full of rock salt. Yeah, it used to happen, and yes, you could kill
Mm-hmm.
people that way, right?
Yeah.
But people would try to, go on top on other people's lands and steal their watermelons or steal their pumpkins or steal their frickin', apples in their apple orchard. and they used to defend themselves with guns. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we need to go back to those days where people understand they have the right to defend themselves as soon as you get on their property. You'd better not be doing something that you know people find wrong, as in theft. Two things:
Yeah.
theft and bodily harm. If you threaten a person, bye.
I've got no problem with that.
And I realize people are like, no man, no man. People will abuse that. Yeah, I know people will abuse it. All right, that people are going to abuse everything. There's nothing people won't abuse.
Unfortunately, you are right there. But
But the people that will
you know
abuse
full
that,
well
go ahead.
they're not going to be allowed to do that, especially because of the Carl Rittenhouse thing. Anything involving firearms, there is going to be double, triple observation on it by everybody, including those that don't actually have any reason to have observation on it, but they're going to just so as they can be seen
So,
complaining about it.
so what do you have? You have this lunatic, right? Drive over people in Waukesha, and what do the
Mm-hmm.
Democrats do? This is typical of the Democrats, folks. Don't believe that this is not. This is a typical Democrat. Oh, they fired her. I'm saying sure, right? They didn't know that she was like this. An Illinois Democrat who appeared to portray the Christmas parade tragedy in Wisconsin as a form of payback for Fridays. She didn't appear. She did.
Yeah.
She did basically say that. If you listen to it, she wasn't. She appeared to portray. No, she did portray it that way.
Yeah.
One of her earlier social media posts, from Lemensky, about the Christmas parade tragedy read, "It was probably just self-defense with hashtags Wisconsin and Kyle Rittenhouse." All right. She also describes herself as an acting student from the Second City Comedy Group. All right. Living in Wisconsin, he probably felt threatened. Read another post. No, this
Mm.
isn't indicating or could indicate. This is actually saying that it's justified.
Yeah.
Okay, does this woman deserve to be fired? Sure. The problem is why was she a Democrat to begin with? Why was she one of the members of the Democrat Party? All right, as part of their communications group. You don't think she doesn't know what she's saying here?
Sure. Well, yeah. So as you were saying about the Carl Rittenhouse stuff, did you know? I mean, you probably did, but did you know? Apparently, CNN don't actually want to mention about that driver dude you're talking about because obviously it crosses over. They actually refuse to admit that it was either a male or a female. They're going him or her. We're not sure. And yeah, honestly, how can you be not sure about this? This has been proved. Apparently, there are people out there that actually have the police records on it. When it was called in, people were saying about it. But according to CNN, oh, we don't know whether it was male or female. So what? Is it me or is okay? It's CNN. Of course, they're lying to us. But is it me or are they really just trying to bend this 6 ways from Sunday to say what they want it to?
No, that's what they're doing. All right, because this guy has a Facebook page and everything else, and they know that he is a Black Lives Matter guy. All right,
Yep.
that he is put out things disparaging and the whole violence against Donald Trump rap crap. All right, that they put out
Yep.
there. Right, this guy is a criminal. The guy had literally run over the mother of his child before. Okay, it's not an
Wow.
exaggeration. All right, and yet this Mensa candidate was let go on $1,000 bond. This guy has a rap sheet down your freaking arm, and you let him go. All right, on $1,000 bond. Now,
That's strange.
you look at this stuff, And you go, it's not strange when you people are running around making excuses for criminal behavior because of, well, the condition that they will, they grew up in it, and they grew up in a bad neighborhood and things were bad and tough for them. I understand things are tough for people, okay, but it doesn't excuse their behavior.
No.
You can't excuse their behavior because what happens then is that becomes everyone's behavior. See,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't enforce the standard, you don't have a standard.
Yeah.
The military taught me this. The military is very good. If you don't have a standard, okay, then there's no standard, regardless of what you want people to live up to. There will always be the quote unquote exceptions of the people that work hard, all right? But those become the exceptions. If you expect everyone else you want to rise everyone as a whole, then you have to set a standard and expect people to meet it. And they will. Believe it
Yeah.
or not, people will do that. But,
Well, they've got
well,
something to aim for, so yeah.
well, it's not just that. But the thing is, one of the sad truths of life, and I can't stress this enough, right? About human beings. Human beings are inherently lazy. Okay? This is you can talk about whether or not human beings are inherently good. You can talk about them, they're inherently animals, blah blah blah. But the one thing that human beings are is inherently lazy. It takes self-discipline to convince people to stop being lazy. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Yes, there are some people that are self-motivators, right? That's because those people have quote unquote ambition. Okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
because when they're lording over other people, they can be lazy. Okay?
Yeah.
All right? It's a natural aspect of humanity. All right? The guy
I
who becomes the president, does he have to worry about getting his food? No, somebody comes and cooks it for him, right? Go give me some food, okay?
yeah.
He's being late. He could go out and cook his meals, right? Am I missing something here, Jensen?
No, 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 no. I agree with you. Personally, I always term it as the path of least resistance. Okay? As you put it, lazy. And I totally agree. I am the same. It is very much a case of I do what I need to do and then I don't do anything more than I actually have to. Is it laziness? Yes. Do I understand it's laziness? Yes. Do I accept it's laziness? Yes. Do I care? No.
Well, when it gets to be when you get too lazy, then you got to look around and you say, "Oh, I got to step up," and you got to change yourself.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
That's under
Oh
self-discipline.
yeah.
But there are people. No, there's another aspect of mankind that's very true as well, and that is human beings are curious beings. We always have been.
Yeah.
We would not
Yeah.
exist if we weren't curious. Okay, so there will always be people that explore a different route. Okay, but when curiosity meets laziness, trust me, that's the route 99.9% people go.
Yeah.
Right? They'll head down that pathway like Lenny's. All right, just
True.
put it out there. Now, this woman who did this, that talked about this, she claims to be I'm a single mother of. At that point, I'm like, stop.
Mm.
All you are is a freaking slut. All right, and you're looking for a man to blame your problems of the world on, right?
I'm going to defend her actually, and you're about to point out where I'm wrong.
Okay.
Does it actually state that she's a single mother because the father of the child died? At which point, I've got no arguments with her whatsoever. If, on the other hand, she got knocked up, and
It does.
even if the man
It
left,
doesn't say, right, and you could say you're
okay,
making an assumption, but she's the single mother of two.
yeah,
Okay, she's also a quote
yeah.
unquote student.
Oh,
All right, member
okay,
of a
yeah.
comedy team. Uh huh.
I'm seeing a pattern here. I really, really am. Okay.
All right. But this is, I hate to say this, but this is the Democrat Party. They can claim
Yeah.
that it isn't, but this is the woman is the Democrat Party. And see, the problem with them is people like Joey Reid and the rest of these freaking bastards. They see these stories and they make claims that just are not supportable. Like, if this had been a black man, well, okay, well, let's talk about a black man for a moment, right? This black man, this never would have happened, really. Jury acquits Gifford, all right, man, who claimed self-defense after girlfriend killed by sheriff's SWAT team in 2017. Now, I will grant you that 2017, it took 4 years to go to trial.
Yeah.
I have a problem with this. Okay? I have a problem with them charging him at all with this, to be honest. All right? And if you
Yeah.
read through this story, all right, what happened is the police with their SWAT team do a raid early in the morning, right? And they're breaking in. This guy wakes up with break-ins happening and sees a pole, which he thinks is possibly a rifle, because he hears people's voices and stuff going on in another room as they are arresting his father, and thinks that he's being robbed, and he opens fire.
I'm okay with this.
The police are trying to throw in a flashbang, all right? Now, the police return fire, naturally, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. That's I have no problem with the police returning fire. Okay.
No.
Right. If the police are under fire, at that point, it doesn't matter. You're under fire. You have the right to return fire. I'm not going to make that. But the question starts with, why were the police there? And they went and they exonerated the police's procedures here, which is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? I'm sick and tired. Look, people talk about SWAT and they talk about the militarization of the police. The militarization of the police isn't a SWAT team, isn't a SWAT car or some freaking heavy armored van. The militarization is the idea that you're going to do a room clear at 5 a.m. in the friggin' morning.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. Unless you're trying to save somebody's life, okay, you have literally no reason, all right, to do a break-in and entering at 5 a.m. in the morning. You don't. Well, what if they're going to move the drugs? You're watching the house then, right? You know, you're seeing who's coming in and out. You're keeping track of those people, right? You know. The FBI did a freaking 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. freaking invasion, right, on Roger Stone, a 78-year-old man, all right, where they kicked in his doors and everything else in his raid, just because he had sent an email, all right, to somebody else who was a possible witness, all right, who also was a known acquaintance of his, all right, and they were going, see, that's a jury tampering, that's evidence tampering, Nomad, don't you understand? Yeah, so you needed to kick a door in and do a frickin', raid at 5 a.m. in the morning?
Yeah.
You couldn't have just walked into his house at any point in time and said, all right, we're serving a warrant, everybody in?
Mm-hmm.
That's the militarization. It's the attitude that these people are taking with it. And the people who should be putting a stop to it are the judges. The people who are issuing these kinds of warrants are the judges. If you don't want this kind of shit to be happening, folks, then you better start thinking about who the hell you're electing, all right, and who they are as putting up as judges. If you want police to act differently, okay, it's not going to act differently by you coming back going, well, you got to excuse the behavior of murderers. No. This guy, was he a murderer? No. They tried to charge this guy with murder because the police, in returning fire, shot and killed his girlfriend. And they said that she would be alive if he hadn't opened fire on the police. He's guilty of murder. No, he has the right to defend himself. There is a stand your ground law in Florida. He had every right to open fire back. And it frustrates me to no end that the judge, there's plenty of evidence against this guy. Well, you know what they found? They found some crack cocaine that his father had in his father's room. They found some marijuana cigarettes, some crack cocaine, not huge amounts of any of this stuff. 10 pills of like hydrocortisone or something like that, and 1 pill of oxycodone.
Ooh,
Does this guy's
definite drugs dealer.
well, he can be a drug dealer. He might be a drug dealer, all right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you need to break into his house like this at 5 a.m. in the morning.
I'm sorry. No,
What
no,
are you
mate.
gaining
No,
from
mate.
this?
You're wrong. He was obviously a kingpin. I mean, my God, he was obviously dealing drugs throughout all of North America with that large amount of drugs he had there.
Okay, back in the day, the FBI, you want to talk about kingpins, all right? Back in the day, the FBI, right, when they decided to arrest gangsters, and we're talking the real gangsters, and I think it was Dillinger, right? You know how they arrested Dillinger? Did they break into his house at 5 a.m.? Right? Now, don't get me wrong, the FBI was trigger happy, all right? All you have to do is take a look at, study Bonnie and Clyde and see how that ended. Okay? You'll understand
It
that.
went so well for them. What are you talking about?
All right. If you read some of this stuff when they're trying to look at some of those things, but they didn't do the actual break-ins early in the morning. They did try to surround houses and stuff, and they got caught, and firefights broke out and other things. If you study this time frame, right? These guys are literally rocking around with machine guns, right? And I mean everybody, including the gangsters, right? We're rocking around. You could go to take a look at the bullet-ridden car of Bonnie and Clyde. Let me see if I can do that. Let me pull that up here real quick. Get on the old Google.
I know it. Back then, to be blunt, okay, they almost, I would say that they knew what they was doing, except that, to be honest, the gangs nowadays would unfortunately kick 7 bells of crap out of the old gangs because we're brutal nowadays. We would do things that these people would never do because they at least had and I'm using this term really loosely, they had a form of sense of honour.
Yeah, this is
Whereas a lot of the gangs nowadays don't.
this is the car. Bonnie and Clyde. All right, when they decided to stop them, okay, when the shootout happened, right?
Did it stop them? Yes. There you go.
The thing is as you're looking at these things, you can see it's an old American style car because you can see that some of the bullets didn't penetrate, right?
Oh yeah.
And these are 45 caliber rounds that people are firing from Tommy guns, right? So now some of them did. You can see this one went through. Obviously, Bonnie and Clyde were riddled with bullets, right, and died at the scene.
Yeah.
But so I'm not saying that it can't happen, but the thing is you opening up. Now this guy's not. It's obviously even back then, like I was saying, it's not that they wouldn't have these kind of gunfights. But when they came up to arrest Dillinger, they waited till he got into his car, right, and then they literally walked up, right, and said, "FBI, get out of the car." They pulled their guns. Don't get me wrong. They pulled their guns. FBI, get out of the car. They didn't try to raid and do a flashbang into an apartment complex, right? Because they understood. It wasn't. You said honor. I don't know if it's a matter of honor. It's just a matter of common sense, right? If you want to raise the tensions, okay, you do it one way. If you're trying to keep tensions at a low things, because quite frankly, the police are not the military. A military operation is completely different. I have no problem with the military. A military, breach and clear. Aside from the fact that too often they don't do it right, because instead of throwing flashbang grenades, I think they should throw grenades.
There is a flash and there is a bang. It's not quite what you was thinking, but it's close enough.
All right. Now I understand that in Iraq, we couldn't throw grenades because the houses were mud and the shrapnel went through, but you understand the concept, right?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, let's be fair. You can't really do that nowadays. I mean, you have no grenades to actually throw. You've given them all to the Taliban.
But
Oh, was that too soon? Was that too soon? Might have been. Okay.
I could have done a Taliban story. We won't do that one yet, but we won't do that. But this is a black guy. He stood his ground properly, right?
Yeah.
Um, yes, people died, right? But to be honest, the people who are at fault of this are the police. Now, luckily, the woman who died, right, her family is suing the police, and then have allowed this trial to finish up so that they don't influence this trial, right? Which is important. Okay,
Yeah.
it's important as much as it's a delay in justice. It's important this one these people to get due justice, because quite frankly they should be suing the sheriff's office, and they should be suing the state because the state acted improperly. There are better ways to sit up there and issue an arrest warrant. Okay,
Hmm.
you have no reason to suspect that these guys are going to open fire. See, that's the thing. It's drug users, drug dealers, and everybody else. Look, if you walk into the house and say, police, how often do people actually open fire on the police? Does it happen? Yes. All right. Is it going to happen no matter what? Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen no matter what situations. There's going to be people that'll do that, right? I understand that.
Hmm.
But most of the times what'll happen is people will open the door and, you got me. They're not happy about it. They'll try and get rid of whatever small drugs they have. But if this is a drug warehouse, you're not gonna flush 6 tons of freaking cocaine down a freaking toilet. You're not gonna flush 6 pounds of cocaine down the toilet. Okay, you're
That's a
not.
really big dump. I mean, come on, explain that one. Oh,
Right? You're not gonna do it. Okay.
yeah.
And quite frankly, if you do think it's something like that, the first thing that I would do if I was the police officer is I would use infrared to find out how many people are in the building, right? And I'd wait till there was either no one or one person before I would raid that building to begin with. If you're
Yeah.
actually interested in making sure that drugs aren't, you know, hidden away, if you believe that there's a
Hmm.
significant quantity of drugs there, and they have this technology, they have this ability to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But instead, what we get is some of this, and this is going to get worse, folks. Storefront windows of Louis Vuitton on Saks Fifth Avenue on Rodeo Drive damaged. This used to be the safest city in the West, but not anymore, said shopper Salvio Fino. All right, anybody can come and just take, and it's just getting very easy for them. Beverly Hills police officers responded Sunday to reports of windows smashed at the 200 block of Rodeo Drive. When they arrived, they located two storefronts that had windows smashed. The damaged storefronts included a Louis Vuitton and a Saks Fifth Avenue. Police said no merchandise was taken from either store. Want to bet? just putting it out there. Want to bet? The suspects remain at large. They break in but didn't take anything. Really?
Hmm.
Possibly. I guess that's possible. Instead, it's the new normal. Bay Area hit for third consecutive day of looting as 50 strong hammer gang, all right, storms jewelry store after Macy's and Lululemon stores were hit. Thieves take advantage of the woke misdemeanor law. San Francisco Bay has been hit by a third day of brazen looting by gangs of thieves, filmed smashing glass cases at a jewelry store and emptying them as staff screamed in terror. In the latest incident at Sam's Jewelers store in the Southland Mall in Haywood, all right, around 5:30 p.m., all right, Sunday evening was caught on camera. Robbers said to have been part of a gang of around 40 or 50 teens. Now,
Yeah.
40 or 50 teens isn't a gang. Okay, that's a mob.
Yeah.
Okay, gangs composed to about 20 people. All right, teenage gangs. Right, there's a
Hmm.
teen gang. They're not going to have 50 people. This is more than just a single gang. Is what I'm trying to put out. Right.
Yeah.
This is a mob. They're getting used to this. wielding hammers to smash display cases at Sam's before making off with goods. Dramatic footage shot from a nearby store showed shoppers screaming with fear as the disturbing scenes unfolded. How come the shoppers weren't opening fire?
You can't try and stop them. That'd be illegal.
This is the problem. They're overwhelmed and devastated by the brazen theft as it's a small drugstore and does not have the same resource chains like CVS and Walgreens. What do you expect people to do? They're destroying people's lives. People's lives are being absolutely destroyed by this kind of crap, and yet, oh, but it's okay. It's justifiable, apparently.
Thing is, okay,
I mean,
something you said about this, and it is very true. It not it's not just a case of people need to arm up and do something about it. They need to vote out the politicians that are stopping them from doing this. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but you did not do this shit back in the 50s and 60s. You went into one of these places. Good luck on coming back out again
yeah.
without a hole in you. Am
Well,
I right or wrong?
no, they would have been shot. All right,
Yeah.
they've been shot by the owner, by the store clerks. Everybody would have been opening fire on these guys. All right, that's the way it was. You don't have the right, all right, to do this kind of shit. Now, will tragedies happen as a result, where people who are well-meaning, all right, get caught up in a situation that other people will misinterpret and then kill you for? The answer to that is yes. All right, that will happen. It happens anyway, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just like it or not, it happens anyway. It was just a couple decades ago, or a decade or so ago, where a small girl, and when I say small girl, she's I think she was preteen, like 12 or 13. She was very young, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was in a store with a backpack, and the owner thought that the girl was robbing the store because they had been robbed like this before, right?
Yeah.
And so the store owner, right, who was a small little Asian woman, right, tried to grab the backpack, right? The girl naturally grabbed her backpack back and defended herself and slugged the woman twice, right?
Yeah.
Understandable. So, old granny, though, got up off the floor, right, pulled a gun and shot her.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Can those things happen? Yes. Could this whole thing have been avoided? Yes. Even before then. Is the law going to make a difference? No. The law didn't make a difference. The girl's still dead. She wasn't robbing the store. Okay?
Yeah.
It was a case of if you'd allowed if the girl would have allowed the woman to look into her backpack, she could have proven that she hadn't stolen anything. At the same time, yes, she is defending herself. She has the right to defend her property too, right?
True.
Tragedies happen in life. That's I hate to say this, but it's true. Tragedies happen in life.
Yep. From Jim, men are going to start wearing tall boots and zoot suits. I dread to think what that is.
Oh my god.
And be packing 6 to 8 pistols at the same time if this stuff doesn't change for the better. Should I even ask? Or is this one of those things where I just nod sagely and don't ask stupid questions?
You wonder what her zoot suit is. That is what you're asking for, right?
Oh, God, I'm going to hate this. Go on, go for it. I know I'm going to regret this. I know I am. Holy crapping Christ on a crutch!
Now,
what is that?
That's a zoot suit. Okay. Now, the zoot suits, but believe it or not, this is the whole thing. All right. They were loud. These pants were beyond baggy. They flared out like chaps, right? They were they had these stupid chains. For some reason, these chains were a part of this. This is a 1930s time frame, 1920s, 30s time frame. All
Wow.
right. Came.
No problem. Yeah.
That's my alarm.
Okay.
Speaking of which, carry on with this while you're looking at it. You can describe this to people. I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Yeah, no problems. Yeah, this. Okay, I'm just gonna put it bluntly. Okay, I've only once ever seen anything like that, and that was some 80s band, and this the dude was wearing this, and I was looking at it in absolute horror. Did people really wear this? That's not natural, man. Sorry, just that's my opinion. And if they did wear that, I think we can safely say we spotted where they go, because you don't get to look like that and not be easily noticed. Unless, of course, you find that everyone and his grandmother's wearing something like that, at which point, hey,
Well,
well
that's kind
deserves
of what
it.
was happening. In fact, there's a the zoot suits are well
Uh,
known for to be honest, there was something called the zoot suit riots.
I've heard about that. That was
Right.
ringing up. My head is tingling. I've heard of this.
Now this was uh, more of a how do I say this without offending people? Um, well, I guess there's just no way to not offend people, right? um, let me go back to this. This is another example of a zoot suit, right? You can see that it's flamboyant, but this was a part of, more than anything else, the Hispanic LA area where the Zoot Suit Riot
Mm-hmm.
more or less took place. Um, it's
Yeah.
it wasn't a it was just in response to the flappers more than anything else. You remember
Yeah.
flappers, women flappers? Well,
Yeah.
men got into
Yeah. The nice.
fashion too, and that was
Wow. Right, by the way, the band that I'm talking about was called Kid Creole and the Coconuts. I remember this. It's just, it just that was the sort of clothes he wore, and they really wore that shit. Honestly,
well,
oh wow,
yeah, well, I
that's
mean,
not natural.
it was back in the day, you know. You gotta understand, it was back in the day when these kind of things that were fashion. This is the kind of fashion where people are trying to do things. Look how baggy this thing is. This is why you're saying you could carry 16 guns.
Yeah,
You could carry an
Nomad,
arsenal in there.
Nomad. You could fall out of an aeroplane and fly and float down on your own parachute with that
Yeah,
get up, couldn't you?
yes, you could. You might survive an airplane fall if you were wearing a suit on your way down.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were tended to be very colorful as well. That's the other thing. So you saw the ones with the blue, the yellow
Mm,
canary
yeah.
kind of thing. They were red was very popular. Purple was very popular. Blue, you know,
Um,
the light blue kind of thing.
I do have one question.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at suits like that, how the hell do you get to say that stuff in the 80s and 90s was garish when you had suits like that?
Do you really want me to start pulling up things from the 70s? And no one thought that
Oh,
the 80s were
no,
garish. The
no, no, no,
70s
no,
were
no, no, no.
garish.
No, no. The 70s was the time that fashion forgot. Everyone knows this.
Okay, we'll go. So we can put that behind us. Is that what you're saying?
Dude, I know about disco, okay? I might be young, but I've seen disco. I've seen, I don't even know what to call those things, but I've seen some of the things that they wear. The women are the worst, okay? I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I've seen some shit that Apple wore that goes against human rights, as far as I'm concerned.
just
Yeah,
just putting
70s neon colours. Yes, I agree,
it.
Susan.
Yeah, there is. But you wanted to know what a zoot suit was. That's,
Thank you. No, no, you showed me. I now need bleach to clean my eyes, but yes, you now shown me.
worse things than on here, but it just it was a fashion. All right, I mean, it was like I said, it was kind of a man's response to the male response to the flappers in the flapper age.
Mm-hmm.
And why you would use that much material on anything, I have no idea. Especially with the
Yeah.
chains, because they're not exaggerating. Those chains went all the way down your leg. It's like, what the hell would you be doing with that? I'm sorry. I, there's certain things that you just don't get into, like bell-bottom
Yeah.
jeans, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to wear bell-bottom jeans unless you are on a
No.
ship. I can understand them on a ship. They have a purpose on the ship. They don't have a purpose on walking around in regular life.
Yeah, just like it's fashion, okay. I don't do fashion. I still just wear combats because at least it's a nice, simple clothing, and it's got all the pockets I need. I do not do fashion. The fact that combats became fashionable was an accident, as far as I'm concerned. And I
Yeah.
did actually have someone come up to me and say, "Oh, your combats look cool." I'm like, "Yeah, they're real." "Oh, yeah, where did you get them?" "The army, idiot."
The
I just
military.
walked away.
Morons.
Oh,
Okay. Are we gonna go? Let's change things. We're gonna change things up a little bit here. All
okay.
right. And let's pop up this story here
Mm-hmm.
because this fits with this area. From the Babylon Bee, black and white Americans join hands around common cause of launching journalists into the sun. Oh, if only. Oh, please. In a rare moment of national unity, Americans of all races, backgrounds, and creeds had joined hands across America with the shared belief that we should immediately launch all mainstream media journalists directly into the sun. I know we don't agree on much these days, but this one's a no-brainer," said Dale Smith, a white guy from
Yeah.
Townsville, Tennessee. "I'm honestly not sure why we didn't do this long ago." Daryl Woodson, a small black business owner in Baltimore, agrees. "Wait a minute. We haven't launched all the lying journalists into the sun yet? Well, no wonder things are so bad," he said.
Thing is, okay, you're joking here, but you know it'd actually make the world a better place.
I've said it for a long time that there's a reason they're
Mhm.
called muckrakers. They're vermin.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Citizens and experts and policymakers all agree that gathering up the people most responsible for racial hatred and division in this country over the last decade, loading them all into a rocket and launching them straight into the nearest star as quickly as possible is the most effective thing we can do to promote healing in America. Elon Musk announced that he will dedicate one of his very own SpaceX rockets to the task. He will also dedicate a second rocket large enough to hold Brian Stelter.
I'm okay with that as a statement. Let's face it, nobody would dare accuse him of being a journalist. He is, as you said, muckraker.
If only, if only, my God.
Oh, that would be good, though.
It would solve a lot of problems. All right, these people
Yeah.
are not good people. All right,
No.
and for the most part, I understand America's love affair with journalism came about because of the Walter Winchell days. All right, Walter Winchell and Walter Concrete. Oh, Concrete. Walter Concrete. Crite. All right, however you say his name. Walter. All right. Walter Concrete. Concrete. I cannot pronounce his name today. I do not know why. They became our outlet to the world. Now, Walter Winchell, of course, was describing, for those who don't know, was a radio host, okay, at the time, and he was one of the journalists that was describing the Blitz during World War II to Americans prior to our entry in the war.
Ah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and so as as the medium changed from newspapers, okay, into somebody that's coming into your house every day, okay, these became more like family. And Cronkite, Walter Cronkite, became America's father figure, right? With the evening news on CBS, and he had the voice, and he had the mannerisms that everyone loved about the grandpa that's just telling you what's going on in the world and explaining things. But unfortunately, what people didn't realize is he was a lying sack of shit. All right, he was a Marxist. He hid a lot of things from America, so America didn't understand what was really going on. This is especially true of the Vietnam War. He lied to the American people about the Vietnam War, and that's one of the things that I won't forgive him for.
Huh?
And you say that, well, him lying, he didn't really say anything that wasn't true. He basically did. All right, he basically shaded things to make it look like things were worse there when things were actually getting a lot better after '68. During the
Okay.
'68 Tet Offensive, people forget this. The '68 Tet Offensive was an absolute disaster for for the Vietnamese, the NBA, and so forth. An absolute disaster. There were no more Viet Cong after the Tet Offensive. There was no great uprising. They were utterly devastated as a military force.
Hmm?
All right, the acts of terrorism and everything else that people talk about were way on the were going way down. Right, the area was becoming secure. Was it perfect? No, but it was becoming more and more secure over time. At that point,
Mm-hmm.
though, you have Walter Cronkite. Basically, his claim was, "Is I don't see any difference." You're a liar, sir,
Yeah.
because there's a
Mm-hmm.
huge difference. Okay, and he didn't want to admit who these freaking communist sons of bitches were. Why? Because he was a communist too.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. That's one of the things that he hid so much that the Marxists were doing. He tried to hide from America,
Yeah.
and he was successful at it. Unfortunately, it's one of the problems that I have with people like Sticks Hexenhammer. He knows that they were lying, yet at the same time he repeats those lies as if they were actually accurate. Why? Because it fits his agenda now. Just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't. I don't listen to that Stick Saxonham. I've got to say, I saw him once. I looked, and it was just like, "Are you really sure, dude?" Uh, wait, what's purely a visual thing? I mean, I think my brain kind of switched off when I saw his leather jacket and his skinny ass naked chest. I just sort of went, "Whoa, this is more than I need to deal with."
yeah,
It
well,
really was.
it was a shtick, though. You got to understand that was a
Mhm.
shtick. He is, he was portraying.
Yeah.
It's part of a characterization that he's trying to put out there, right? But
Mhm.
he is what happens when hippies, right, age. Um, short, if he was back in the '60s, he was a hippie. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, he's still a hippie. He's got the hippie mindset. He's got the hippie mentality, right? He's got the hippie freaking
Yeah.
arrogance that only he knows what's really going on, and it's always somebody else that's the problem instead of him,
Yeah.
right? Now, a lot of what he says is accurate. Don't get me wrong, and he is, like it or not, tuned into the how do I say this? He does have his finger on the pulse of the millennial youth generation.
Mhm.
Right? He does accurately reflect their attitudes. Okay,
Yeah.
doesn't mean he's right, but he does reflect their attitudes, and he does do. He actually does have a decent amount of analytical skills in a certain regard, right? Because he does understand something that when you do analysis about what's going to happen, right? There's a lot of factors, of course, that you take into it, right? There's the numbers factors, right? Things that you can quantify, right?
Yeah.
But then there's social factors as well. He does a very good job in dealing with the social factors. He really does. He's got a good handle on that, right? His numbers factors are a little suspect, however,
Yeah.
but that's a separate issue. Right?
I agree with Oz, by the way. Damn dirty hippies, someone get the fire hose.
Yeah, can't say as I disagree with that. Can't say as I disagree with that. Anyway,
Hmm.
off to the next story. Completely different realm.
Yes.
In Russia, dead moose, moose and squirrel, and Putin critic add up to a political scandal. How is this a political scandal? Caught cutting up a dead moose at night in a forest. Moscow's top communist is facing criminal charges for illegal. He got the moose. He got illegal moose before Vlad could. Now Vlad can only hunt squirrel. Do you know how hard it is to find the squirrel in the forest? Natasha. It's no more moose and squirrel now. It's just squirrel. Who's going to represent America now? Because you know this Rocky was a freaking Canadian.
Yeah.
Anyway, his defenders say it's all Kremlin payback. Valery Rashkin, 66, leader of the Moscow Communist Party, was arrested in the middle of the night on October 29th for shooting a female moose illegally, the Interfax news agency reported, and could be stripped of parliamentary immunity on Thursday. He has been at odds with Russian authorities for challenging the results of the September parliamentary elections and rejecting the Kremlin's pet project, online voting, a system the critics say will promote electoral fraud. Really?
No, really? You know what?
This is the communists who's saying that online voting is a fraud.
I'm surprised they need to actually tell you guys about this. It would be terrible if America done. Oh, that's right. Oops.
Communist lawmaker Nina Ostani said the charges were a political special operation that was designed to intimidate all patriots and offered an alternative to fat cats and crooks in Vladimir Putin's Russia. It is so blunt and clumsy that it's baffling, he said. Rushkin, however, did not do himself any favors shifting accounts. At first he claimed that he found the animal dead and then decided to butcher it. The state television coverage showed him being confronted by police late last month, looking confused and evasive, standing next to his car in a pile of bloody meat. An axe
What are they
of
saying?
found at the scene, and he did not have a hunting license. On Thursday, he finally admitted that he had blurted out a lie, the first thing that came to his mind. I was tired, he explained. The first thing that comes to your mind is a lie? Oh, you're a communist, my mistake.
That's better. But just so you know, okay, that has now proved to you what you've got there is a Russian redneck. It found a dead animal, so immediately it started butchering it. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me you can't imagine Dodge doing that? Come on, dude. Really?
I can't. But I could have. But Dodge, Bear Dog, everyone else. The police came up and said, "Did you shoot that?" And be like, "Yeah, oh yeah." What a slice!
Yep.
Their first indication isn't, I better lie about this. Bloody hands, dead body parts everywhere that look like they've been sliced. You look like someone.
See that going badly for you at all? Should be easy. Oh dear.
I mean, how bad
Genius.
is it now, I don't know how serious it is to shoot moose in Russia without a license. All right, I mean, in the United States, if you get caught cutting illegally, it depends on several factors, right? Not the least of which is what you shot, right? And
yeah.
Shooting a moose probably it will get you a slap on the wrist. Shooting a bald eagle will put you in jail. Shooting moose will Is it a big deal? I don't know if moose is a protected species in Moscow. I don't know why it would be, but then again, with these lunatics in the eco movement, who knows?
Yeah. As the British representative here, I can safely say that if you do something like that in England, it's poaching, and the Sheriff of Nottingham will hang you. Just saying.
On to America. Former Baltimore County's officer sentenced to home detention for rape of a 22-year-old woman. Home detention. You convict a guy of rape and you sentence him to
Yeah.
home detention.
Ooh.
A former Baltimore County police officer was sentenced Friday to house arrest for the 2017 rape of a 22-year-old woman, authorities said. Why does it take 40 years to go to trial? Get sentenced.
Worrying, isn't it?
What is it? Was 2017 a witching year? Oh, that's right. That's when Donald Trump took over. My mistake.
Hmm?
Officer Westerman, 27, was convicted in August of 2 counts of sexual degree rape, 1 count of third degree sexual offense, 1 count of fourth degree sexual offense, and 1 count of second degree assault, according to a search of online court records. Westerman was suspended without pay, all right, from the Baltimore County Police Department after the police department learned of his charges in December of 2019. 2 years later, you learn that this guy's being charged.
Yeah.
I'm starting to have problems with this. I really am. Westerman was this. At Friday's sentencing hearing, the Baltimore County Circuit Judge Keith Truffer, I'm sorry, withdrew one of the rape convictions and combined the sentences for the remaining counts, saying that he had only intended to convict Westerman of 1 count of second degree rape. But, huh? He sentenced Westerman to 15 years behind bars, but suspended all but 4 years of home detention. What?
Wow. And was later seen tucking a bulging envelope in his pocket, maybe.
The judge also
Oh,
sentenced Westerman to a day in jail for second-degree assault of a second victim for what he characterized as a boorish act.
like I said, tuck, pocket, etc. I'm telling you, that is dodgy. If this guy is getting off with that lightly, I realise that things might not be quite the way we believe, but nonetheless, there's lightly and then there's taking the piss, and that is taking the piss. Just saying.
According to court records reviewed by WJZ, Westerman and a 22-year-old woman had been drinking at a bar in October of 2017 when the officer called rideshare to take them back to his home. The intoxicated woman said she passed out. She then awoke and said that Westerman was forcing himself on her. This is it. I'm sorry, but I don't think that that's even rape, in my opinion. Because it sounds like it's just as likely that she was raping him, and she woke up and said, "Well, wait a minute here. This was a little bit smaller than I expected." Where's that other guy?
Yeah,
Where's that story from yesterday?
8 inches round, man. Damn.
8 inches in
Mm-hmm.
diameter. 8 inches in diameter.
True. Yeah.
Okay.
That's wow.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you realize the circumference of 8 inches in diameter?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a. Oh, dude, that ain't right.
There's a thing called pi r squared, right? You guys all know that one, right? Well, that's the volume, excuse me. Or area. Sorry.
Ah, dear.
The pi r is the circumference. So
Yeah.
4 times 3 is 12. So like 13 inches around.
Ain't right. It
Anyway,
really ain't.
anyway, that's a previous story. That's
Yeah.
not this one. No, but
No.
I do have a problem with that part of it because I'm tired of this crap about, well, she was drunk, he was drunk. Okay, at that point right there, who's guilty? If you're going to sit up there and
Mm-hmm.
say that the law is blind, justice is blind. All right, I'm not saying that this guy is a scum and doesn't deserve to go to jail. That's not my point.
Well, no.
Okay, my point is that this guy is how do you convict him of rape when it's a he said, she said, and it was all good? Well, she couldn't give consent, neither could he.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you describe that? What, women can't rape men? Just putting it out there.
You know that is the sort of comment that they will make. That's the problem.
How about don't get drunk and go home go to the house of somebody else and expect not to have sex?
Yeah.
I, what was she expecting to do at his house?
Look at photos.
Meet grandma?
Yeah. Ew.
Just asking.
That
And,
is a mental image I just don't need right there.
yeah.
Okay.
In a separate incident, 2 years later, Westerland led a woman to a secluded part of a Baltimore County bar, placed his hands on her waist, and started kissing her without her permission. Now, this guy is this guy's got problems. but
Mm-hmm.
but so do the women who okay, why would you walk with the guy to a secluded part of the bar?
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? Is he gonna show you his coin collection? What? I mean, I'm sorry,
Mm.
right? But all these people are freaking idiots. This is
Yeah.
why this is why we'd be so much better off, all right, if stupidity was painful. It really should.
These people be screaming all the time.
Some people need. You learn not to be stupid pretty quick, don't you?
True, true.
Hurt like hell, didn't it? Make another dumb decision. See how that one feels. Oh, that one hurt too, huh?
Yeah.
Once again, this problem that I have this problem, first of all, with the judge, right? This is one of my big bugaboo here is the judge on this.
Mm-hmm.
Should this guy be kicked out as a judge? Yes. Yeah, you raped this woman. Yeah, it was a really horrible thing. Stay in your house. Click. Next! God, fuck that ruling. I'm sorry, but what kind of screwed up ruling is that?
Impressively. It seriously, that is what you call soft. Though, it could be that the judge got confused. He heard that he had to take criminals off the street, so he did. He kept them in the house.
Yeah, that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's supposedly a police officer, right?
Yeah.
He's responsible for enforcing the law. I'm sorry, but there's something called a book. You need to learn to throw it.
Fair.
I don't
Good
like
one,
the
though.
law. I'll be honest with you, I don't
Mm-hmm.
like the law, but there's a book. You need to throw the book at these guys. Right? Just put it out there. But stupidity reigns, right? Don't blame me.
Oh, yeah.
Emily Ratajkowski. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce her name,
Good
but we'll
enough.
just call her name Emily. Alleges Robin Thicke fondled her during Blurred Lines filming. Really? Ooh, what did he do? Robin Thicke crossed the clear, unblurred lines of propriety with supermodel Emily during the making of a video that brought him international fame, the alleged victim writes in her new book. Emily said
There
that
we
Thicke
go.
grabbed her bare breasts while they were filming Blurred Lines video. The Sunday Times of London reported in a forthcoming story. The song and sexy video included a raunchy web-only version, all right, became a major hit around the world. Suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt the coolness and foreignness of a stranger's hands cupping my bare breast from behind. I instinctively moved away. You're walking around like this. What do you
Uh,
expect to happen?
Susan, she did write a book. It is all about the book. We know it, you know it, everyone knows it. But somehow she is going to use this to get as much publicity as humanly possible.
All right. You, you're walking around the freaking studio like this. You were making a sex video. Well, not quite sex, but a sex laden or innuendo video, right?
Yeah.
That would be fair to say, right? That would be appropriate to say.
Oh, yeah. Mad. It really is. I mean,
And
yeah,
you
you'd
you
think
you
that they'd get in trouble.
you
You would, wouldn't you?
he may have been walking up in front of thinking, "Hey, I need to be the face of this," and moved his hands and encountered something that he didn't expect.
Hmm.
Then again, she's walking.
Yeah.
Lady, Emily. Piece of advice, girl. Don't walk around naked. In front of
It's a suggestion. Yeah. Can't really argue that one.
I'm not saying that Robin Thicke is a good guy, but
No, I have memories. Apparently, he got in trouble when that vid came out. The old Me Too brigade went absolutely mental at it. So, what do you expect, really?
you're showing off your body to sexualize yourself, and
Yeah.
don't expect a sexualized act from the males you're trying to arouse.
No. Yeah.
this is that's a feminist attitude. That's a feminism of men. Guess what, ladies? Men aren't like that.
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's right, but you're expecting restraint from a man when you're showing no restraint. Think about it that way. Putting it out there, just like this. Vegas strip club shuts down audition after more than 1,000 women sign up and organizers feared the crowd would trample each other in an event similar to Astroworld. Emily looking for a job? Dancer auditions. I love
Yeah.
how they write this. Dancer auditions for a soon to open Las Vegas strip club were cut short by the fire marshal after two. Oh, so they didn't shut it down. The fire marshal did.
Hmm.
After too many people showed up to watch the tryouts, with one host reminding a crowd pushed against the stage of this month's Astro World Stampede. Tryouts for Club Ice were held last Wednesday at the Bloom Lounge in Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Vegas. The event proved to be a little too popular, with more than 1,000 women signed up, and the fire marshal shut it down to avoid potential injuries. Now, you know that incidents like this happen, and you're going to walk around the studio.
Yeah. Of course, I'm going to say it just because it has to be said. I hope they're wearing masks while they're doing their running around naked.
It doesn't, from the picture in the crowd, it doesn't look like they were wearing masks. Maybe they did.
Oh,
I don't see any
I'm
masks here.
horrified.
Okay, I don't see any masks on the women. I don't see any masks on the guys. I see guys with a lot of cell phones and a guy grabbing his crotch. But I don't see any masks. They don't seem to be worried about COVID.
Hmm.
Just put it
Looks
out.
like there's no COVID in LA, everyone. Or in LV, everyone. Oh, dear.
Just put it out there.
So are the women.
Yeah.
It's not to be said.
Speaking of COVID, we have COVID news
Mhm.
from NPR. Why people with mental health illnesses are at higher risk for COVID.
Hmm?
Even, even before the federal government's recent decision last week to authorize COVID-19 boosters for all adults, it's already recommended them for in October for people with certain high-risk conditions, among them with illnesses like diabetes and heart disease. That list included mental health conditions. The decision to prioritize people with psychiatric diagnosis in an earlier rollout of boosters came after a growing number of studies linked mental health disorders to higher risks of both COVID infection and serious outcomes. Really? Now, why would somebody who's mentally deranged be more susceptible to COVID? Let's count the ways, shall we? Willingness to lick doorknobs comes to mind.
Yeah?
Willingness to share saliva with people comes to mind.
Yeah?
The fact that their immune system is compromised from all the frickin' drugs that they're on to try and keep them stable comes to mind.
Oh, you want to talk about mental health? Have a look at what Susan has put. New Jersey's doing radio ads suggesting that you test your guests for COVID for Thanksgiving. Yes. I don't know what to say either. Just so as it has been said from the British to the Americans, happy Thanksgiving whenever you actually do the damn thing. I hope you have a good time.
What we found is that we have a higher level of mortality for those who've had prior psychiatric history. Well, considering that the mortality is, I feel like the world is coming to an end and they jump off a cliff and then, it's a COVID death.
Hmm.
Just put it out there. I'm not trying to make light of this. Well, okay, I am, but not to. I'm not trying to berate anybody or take away the seriousness of mental illness. That's not the point. But the mental illness is now COVID, a COVID disease. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do we? Oh, here. I'm sorry. I forgot Bambi the super spreader. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Bambi the super spreader is on the loose. Study by the U.S. Department of Agriculture found that white-tailed deer in 4 states have been exposed to the new coronavirus that causes COVID-19. Findings set to be published Tuesday by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America showed that 40% of white-tailed deer, the most common deer in North America, tested across 4 states in 2021 were positive for SARS-2 COVID antibodies, meaning that they've been exposed to the virus at some point. Those states were Illinois, Michigan, New York, and Pennsylvania. However, previous studies indicated that deer in other states have also been exposed. Bambi the super spreader on the loose. You know what I got to
Thank
say
you,
about
Jim.
that?
Hmm.
Venison. Anyway.
It needs to be well cooked. That's about all.
All right. So, how are we going to fix COVID? Are you gonna put a mass vaccination of deer?
Oh, don't you just want to see them chasing after the deer trying to put masks on them? Come on. That is going to be hilarious. Let's be fair.
I need to keep my child safe. Bambi, wear a
Hmm.
mask.
Thing is, we're joking. Do you know there are people out there that are
Mommy,
probably going to want
why did
this?
the evil hunter shoot Bambi's mom? Trying to stop the spread, son. Trying to stop the spread.
Oh. Mhm. I agree, Jim. Venison is good for Alger. It's outstanding.
uh, Folks, it's. I'm not trying to say that COVID doesn't exist because it does. I'm not saying it isn't deadly
Hmm.
because it is. But it's no more deadly than the flu, and as far as I'm
Hmm.
concerned, okay, I am not the CDC, I am not the FDA that everyone's relying upon. All right, to make these kind of assessments. All right, I am just another human being who can look at the things and say, when people start listing motorcycle accidents, which they have, as COVID-related deaths, I think something's wrong. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. If this was as deadly as the flu, or more deadly than the flu, all right, you wouldn't have had to try and create a thing of saying COVID related deaths. You wouldn't have had to.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be trying to take care of themselves. I'm not even saying. I will say that I don't see the vaccines as working, right? Because they're not vaccines, right? And you can argue with me and tell me I'm wrong and so forth, which I can understand. But if it was a vaccine and it actually worked, with over 70% of Americans fully vaccinated according to your stats, how is that possible? How is it possible that the pandemic is seeing a rebound? It seems to be
Yeah.
seasonal, like the flu. I mean, that's what it seems to be, right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
You're going to see this thing rebound again and again and again. There's if this stuff worked the way they claimed that it worked, if it's 95% effective, 98% effective, like they've stated, right? Then how is it that the population is of the of the vaccinated are catching the disease?
I would like your opinion on something, okay? Bill Gates was predicting smallpox next because vials were found in a lab in Philadelphia. Your opinion, please.
Um, I think that all right. First of all, we have well, most people in America, right, when they were growing up, especially pretty much everybody my age, right, and everybody probably my age and anybody through I think it was the 1980s, right, who grew up in the 1980s, 1990s, have all had smallpox shots, vaccines,
Good.
right?
Hmm.
I don't think that you would see a resurgence of smallpox anytime soon, unless significant artificial changes have been made to the virus. Okay, um,
Okay.
the the fact is smallpox like polio. Okay, the vaccines do something else than just give immunity to you. I think as a vaccine becomes popular, it becomes part of the human experience. Okay,
Yeah.
and as a result, the human body is more prepared to deal with that specific disease. Will the disease change? Yes. Will we have viruses and devastating diseases across the world? Yes, we always will. Right? Well, I mean, that's always going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's certain things about transmission of viruses and things like this that's important to understand, and that is there's there's the components that make up the virus. One, susceptibility. How widely
Hmm.
susceptible are you? Are half the population susceptible? Are 95 or 99% of the population susceptible? Okay, there are people. There always has been. Some people have always been naturally immune to things. Don't know why. People get studied like this. There are people who are naturally immune, for example, to the AIDS virus. All right, people wanted people, the vampires in the medical industry wanted their blood left and right, right? Um, it's a study, which is understandable. I mean, but there were people that when they find those people that are naturally immune, they really want to study exactly how it is that they have that human resistance. Okay,
Yeah.
because the AIDS virus is susceptible to most people. Now, transmission is another thing. The while the vast majority of human beings are susceptible to AIDS, the transmission requires fluid to fluid contact. Okay, and what's even more is fluid to fluid contact with no light. Okay, that's very hard to
Yeah.
achieve. Okay, because the AIDS virus is very fragile when it in light. Light kills the AIDS virus very quickly. Simple light. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say it. There is one as well. We all know there's one really really good way of passing on the AIDS virus that doesn't involve light. Just saying,
No,
you
no,
know.
but what my point there was is spreading the AIDS virus. Yeah, it spreads, all right, but it doesn't
Mhm.
spread as fast because the transmission capability is limited. That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, fair.
that's not saying that it's not deadly because it is. All right.
Hmm.
The other thing about that is incubation. Right. How long is it in the body before it kills the body? Right. Does it incubate slowly in the body? Right. Chickenpox is an example. Normally, people say that from the early studies, I don't know how viable they are today, but the early studies said that if you catch chickenpox, it normally takes 3 weeks before the dots, 2 to 3 weeks before the dots appear on your skin.
Yeah.
Right. This is after you already caught the disease and as it starts to affect you in your body. All right. So that becomes another issue because while you may have had the disease, there may have been nothing wrong with you as far as you could tell, and therefore you were spreading it while feeling normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So that becomes an aspect of the virus. Right. So all these things play a role in this. Um, one of the viruses that, or one of the diseases that gets spread, okay, has other vectors like mosquitoes. Right. Mosquitoes can
Hmm.
spread obviously yellow fever. Right. It's one of the
Yeah.
diseases that was spread virtually almost completely by mosquitoes. Right. It's a bloodborne virus that could be picked up. All right, and it's spread right via mosquitoes. Now, people were worried that the AIDS virus could do the same. We don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if it actually transmission via mosquitoes is possible, but we do know that it was susceptible with yellow fever, for example, right? As was one of the main things. Is when they got rid of mosquitoes, yellow fever became a thing of the past down in Latin America, right?
Yeah.
And I say a thing of the past. I mean not the rampant, pandemic that people had before, right? So all
Yeah.
that plays into account. So when you talk about smallpox, okay, that becomes an issue. Now, there's one more thing that plays into it, and that's called lethality. How lethal is the disease once you get it? How many people who catch the disease die of the disease? Right? Now, lethality is hard to measure. Why? Because we have so much better ways of dealing with the symptoms of a disease today than we did 50 years ago, 60 years ago, things like that, right? When a person catches a disease now and we see that a high fever is starting to appear, we have things to lower the fever, right? We have ways of preventing the body's natural reaction to the disease, all right, from actually going past the point of killing the person. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So treatment is
Yeah.
now so much better. It's not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect treatment that's going to cure all diseases, all right? But treatment becomes we're much better to be able to treat diseases today than we were in the past. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Of course.
problem comes about with, and this is one of the problems that you can see. Okay, there has been studies and people have shown this. Has been when the procedures that you put in place are actually counterproductive. One of the things that they now believe, and they've been talking about this COVID stuff for a long time now, well, for a couple of years now, they're starting to see certain certain aspects of it. And one of the things that they're finding out is that casual contact through air, okay,
Mhm.
isn't how it's spread. That it's close contact on a repeated basis. So locking people in their houses was actually more devastating than letting them wander around without masks.
Yeah.
Okay, not saying that I'm not trying to make an assessment of whether or not you should be masking kids in schools or anything else. That's not my point. Okay? I'm not trying to make any kind of assessment like that. I'm just pointing
Yeah.
out that this disease is far more. The standard practices actually to some degree were counterproductive. The idea of keeping people locked in their homes made it that the people who caught that disease get the worst symptoms possible, to include the increase in mortality.
Yeah.
That's a fact, folks. You can look at it.
Susan has put a thing saying she caved and got the jab, but she's not getting the booster. When MC does the next story, you might not need to, at least not so much.
Well, yeah. You're worried about the jab, the next jab? Don't worry. We have gum. Experimental chewing gum. It's kind of like Nicorette. Stop the spread of virus. Chew some. What do we call this? COVID. Here's COVID chewing gum, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. And what's better is we mix it with. We mix it with Retsin, so your breath is minty fresh. I'm just a joke, folks. The following is a summary of recent studies of COVID-19. They include warrants further study to corroborate the evidence that has yet to be certified by peer review. Experimental chewing gum reduces virus in saliva. An experimental chewing gum containing a protein that traps the coronavirus particles could limit the amount of virus in saliva and help curb transmission when infected people are talking, breathing, coughing, researchers believe. The gum contains copies of the ACE2 protein found on cellular surfaces, which the virus uses as a gateway to break into cells and infect them. In test tube experiments using saliva and swab samples from infected individuals, virus particles attached themselves to the ACE2 receptors in the chewing gum. As a result, the viral load of the samples fell by more than 95%. Yeah, 95% is a popular number.
You noticed that then, yeah?
All right. The research team from the University of Pennsylvania reported in the molecular therapy at this website. Right, the gum feels and tastes like conventional chewing gum. Can you blow bubbles?
It's coming, I know it.
Can I save the world by blowing gum bubbles? Anti-COVID bubble gum?
Everton. You're not wrong. And this is the really good bit about it, okay? When you blow the bubbles, you don't need to worry about other people being affected by what you've just blown out your mouth, because it's nice and cured. There you go. Everything's great.
Protection against COVID-19 from the mRNA vaccine, either Moderna or Pfizer, may last longer after a booster shot dose than after the original 2-shot regimen, researchers speculated.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, this is Same researchers that told you that after you get the second boost, you're good, right? Or the second shot, you were good, right? And then you were fully vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Thing is, okay, thing to remember is this: it's only going to take 2 weeks to flatten the curve. As long as you remember that, it's not been 650 odd days since they said this, though. So don't worry about that, people. It's only going to take two
but
weeks.
but you weren't chewing your orbit. you, your bazooka bubble gum. If you were just chewing your bazooka, you'd have been fine.
You know they're going to say that, right? You know they're actually going to use that as a reason.
You know why they won't do it? They're not going to do it.
Or
This chewing gum will not come out on the market. You know why? Even if it's effective, this could be the most effective thing to curing the spread of the disease, and it won't come out on the market. How can I say that? It's very simple.
yeah,
Can't wear a mask if you're chewing gum. They will not be able to keep people masked if they're chewing on that gum.
Rue.
And those masks are the most important thing in their minds. Right? Getting people, forcing people, bending them to their will. It is the epitome
Yeah.
of keeping control. And they are not going to allow it. You know that.
Hmm. True. True. Can't argue there. Yeah.
That's why
Bad to
this.
say, but yeah.
Let's say that this drug, that this chewing gum, could stop the spread tomorrow if you just issued it to everybody. Right? If it's 95% effective, I would love to see this gum out there on the market. If it's truly
Yeah.
95% effective. If it's truly that effective in stopping this disease, they should be handed. Hell, they should be putting in the little deer drops for the deer, right? I'm dead
Hold it. Hold
serious.
it. Are you? I'm sorry, no, mate. Are you saying that they should mandate it?
They should
Is this what you're telling me?
they should mandate distribution of it. Yes. All right. If you want the
Yeah.
gum, chew the gum. All right.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Now I don't know what else. Why am I turning orange? Trump's like, it's all mine. No, no. I got you all. I turned you all orange. But no, if this is that effective, and it's not this does not look like it's some what do they call it? A drug, right? It's not a vaccine. It's not a drug. They're not claiming that it's a drug, right? What they're
Mhm.
claiming is that while you're chewing this gum, you can't spread the disease. Right? And they're not even saying that. They're saying it reduces the viral load by 90-something percent, 95%. Well, if that's the case, then having people chew this gum could theoretically, if the disease is spread the way that everyone says it's spread through the water particulates coming from your mouth, right?
Yeah.
This would have a major effect on that. So it looks promising in
Yeah.
a lab, in test tubes. Okay, understand this. How effective is
Yeah.
it? We have no idea. Right? And the gum better be long lasting, otherwise people won't chew it. Let's be honest. The question
True.
is how long is that viral load going to last? How long does it last in the system, right? To give you that kind of protection. Because I know people that chew gum and then immediately spit it out after the flavor goes away.
Yeah.
I know other people that chew gum until it falls apart. All right. Most people chew gum until they get every last ounce of flavor out of it.
Yeah.
Right, which is the normal thing, and then they chew maybe one, maybe two pieces of gum, every other day or so. Who knows?
I mean, the thing is, okay, you pointed out that the whole thing with the vaccines is they have to be at a certain temperature. And I know there's a difference between the injected vaccine and the chewing gum. I understand this. But let's be fair, mate. Okay. 99% of people carry the chewing gum in their pocket now. How hot does their pocket get? how safe is this anti-vaccine going to be in chewing gum? Yeah, I don't think it's going to work as well as people think.
Possibly, possibly not. Maybe
Hmm.
maybe it makes it even more effective if you carry it around in your pocket. You never know. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, let me put it to you this way, right? At this point in time, unless there's some other kind of effect that happens because people go into convulsions because they're chewing gum, okay? If there's no negative effect to the gum, it can't hurt, right? If there's no side effects to this, and obviously you'd have to do studies and everything else to find out if there's side effects and everything. But if there's no side effects, putting the gum out there won't hurt things. It's not going to make things worse,
Hmm.
right? And if it gives
Yeah.
people the comfort of saying I can live my life, I think from a mental health perspective that it's worth it. That's my personal point of view, right? I am not a doctor. I'm
Fair.
not telling you you're going to be mentally healthy if you chew gum, right? It's not that. Please don't put words in my mouth, right? I'm just saying that this holds promise at least from stopping the spread to some degree.
Yeah.
The first place I would try this at, to be honest, would be those temple liquors that are in Iran. Okay, let's see if this works on these idiots. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I know the ones that is it like lick or kiss it?
Say that again.
Do they lick or kiss?
They lick. They were
They,
licking.
oh God, they actually lick it.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were
Okay.
licking. It's like a Islamic Blarney Stone of some sort. I mean,
That's what I thought kiss, but okay.
but no,
Yeah,
they would
hey,
lick the
good luck,
shrine. I
Tom.
was like, yeah. I don't think I'd be licking shrines. If you think I'm making this story
Hey,
up, you can look it up, folks.
look, for all we know, maybe it's strawberry flavored. I don't know.
I won't find out.
That's the first statement. Yeah, all right. Wow, there's a job. Imagine that during the night when no one's around. It's your job to go round to the temple and give it a
uh,
spray at the old strawberry squirter. Oh, that's a concept.
you don't. Yeah, I'm in trouble. I gotta shut your mouth, Matt. Shut your mouth. Recently, pardoned Turkey found dead after claiming to have dirt on Hillary Clinton. A turkey recently pardoned by President Trump was found dead after claiming to have dirt on the Clintons, sources at the FBI confirmed today. The official cause of death was suicide, though the bullet wound in the back of the turkey's head and birds lack opposable thumbs which operate firearms. The turkey had been publicly pardoned for the crime of being delicious and set free by Trump in a popular White House Thanksgiving tradition. Shortly after being released, the turkey has confirmed its possession of credible information that would lead to the indictment of Hillary Clinton. Posting on the bird's social media account, "It's a good thing Trump had pardoned the turkey so the world could find out the truth about the Clintons." Metro Police discovered the turkey's body later, shot twice in the back of the head and stabbed in the neck. And a nearby handwritten note confirmed the death was not foul play.
Oh, really? We don't need Batman here. Even the news is now doing the jokes that he does. Wow.
Amazing, isn't it? Just that simply amazing. From CNN. CNN Space and Science. Lobsters and crabs are sentient beings and shouldn't be boiled alive, says the UK report. What are you studying in Britain?
You want to tell people who actually gave you access to that story first?
Oh, that's right. This story comes from Pinoid, by the way. Just to let people know that, in all fairness, this was on Pinoid's Discord.
Okay. Just so you all know, I think he actually was complaining about this because you'll find that actually the crabs and lobsters are more intelligent than he is.
Octopuses, crabs, and lobsters are capable of experiencing pain or suffering, according to a review commissioned by the UK government, because your tax dollars are better spent. Folks, you can't.
But we've got some morons too, okay? I'm happy to admit this.
You sure this wasn't funded at some point by Fauci? Anyway,
Don't laugh, it probably was.
the UK government, which has added the creatures to a list of sentient beings to be given protection under new animal welfare laws. The report by experts at the London School of Economics
I know.
looked at 300 scientific studies to evaluate evidence of sentience, and they concluded that the cephalopods, such as octopuses, squid, and cuttlefish, and decapods, such as crabs, lobsters, and crayfish, should be treated as sentient beings. Vertebrates, animals with backbone, are already classified as sentient in the new animal welfare legislation currently under debate in the United Kingdom.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go with this. I really don't.
They're going to take fish off the menu because only the French eat fish.
Yeah, it's not like there's a major crabbing industry or a major lobster industry involving British fishing. Well, how about that? Especially with the French fishermen actually complaining that they're not getting access to enough of our waters.
Yeah,
Interesting, isn't it?
where they can't overfish your waters.
Yeah, how
Which is what
dare we want our own waters back? It's disgusting.
I hope you didn't get hit with a strike, by the way. By the way, okay, because the Canadians are no better. Pipelines will be blown up, says David Suzuki, if leaders don't act on climate change. It is now the age of consequences, Extinction Rebellion organizer tells protesters at Victoria, Canada. Critics called the statement dangerous and reckless. Really? What do you think they've been saying, folks? David Suzuki, the godfather of the Canadian environmental movement, warned over the weekend that if politicians don't act to reverse climate change, there could be attacks against oil and gas infrastructure. We're in deep doo-doo, said Suzuki Saturday, speaking at the Extinction Rebellion protest on Vancouver Island. This is what we're come to. The next stage after this, there were going to be pipelines blown up if our leaders don't pay attention to what's going on.
Is it me or does that sound like a call to action? Maybe I'm getting it wrong.
Sounds like a threat to me.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like he's calling on people to blow up pipelines. Sounds like this man needs a one-way ticket to China. Here!
Yep.
Here you go! Go protest!
Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna blow up pipelines in America. Here, blow up one in China, see what happens.
Yeah. I can see that going oh so well for her.
Right? All the people that were attending this meeting, if they don't sign a "I renounce all violence" document to start with, as they walk out of that, should immediately be put on a plane to go visit Peking. Okay, I'm just saying it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that right now. All right, I know people are like, "How can you say that? Oh man, how could you make that kind of a comment?"
Watch me.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, I agree with Susan. Blow up a gas pipeline and see what happens. That would be kind of funny. You got to admit.
As long as they're standing next to it.
Exactly. All within about let's be fair, all within around 25 yards will do.
No, no, I want them right on top. Right? I want them right on there to sit up there. In fact, I want them taking selfies with their friends as they sit up there and push the button. Okay?
You make jokes, but you know that that would be a thing. Okay,
It would be.
you know that that would be a thing.
Right.
I didn't say it would be a bad thing, but it would be a thing.
It says Suzuki, as reached by the National Post on Monday, said that violence within the environmental movement has already been happening, although he identified police actions against anti-loggers protests and anti-gas pipeline protesters as the culprits. Really? So spiking trees, all right, that you guys have been doing for how long has been doing what exactly? Aside from making it more expensive, all right, to build a house.
Yep.
Personally, this guy needs to be, like I said, shipped to China. You want to come protest? Well, how about you go out there and show us the real thing? Get you and your buddies and go out there and show us just how much you really care about the environment and stop the number one polluter, China, or the number two polluter, India. You can go to India too. Go on down there and you put a stop to them because
Yep.
they're polluting the world. It's climate change, right? You go show them what's up. No, Mr. Suzuki isn't going to say a freaking word to them. He won't even go to Russia and do it because he knows what would happen. Well, you got this pipeline that they're building in Russia. Here you go. You gotta stop that. You can't let Europe go that way, right? Right, David? Yeah, why'd you buy a ticket to Moscow? Pop on over and tell Vlad that you're going to show him what's for.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well.
I'd love to see it.
Mm-hmm. As Putin treats him like a moose, and we know exactly what he does to moose.
that was the leader of the Moscow Communist Party, a Putin critic.
Had to be done though.
Bring Rocky with you. Anyway, bring the female squirrel. Final story of the day, folks. Final story. I don't make these things up.
Wish you did though.
Hopping on a trend inside the strange rise of smoking toad venom for religious experience high as expert revealed dangers of the psychedelic.
Yeah.
We go from touching the toad to licking the toad to smoking toad.
But can we stop here because the next point is just disturbing, and we do not need to know about people doing other things with the toads. Just no, stop it. Stop now.
Gonna roll up me a blunt, man. Hey, try a little bit of this. We'll sprinkle a little party dust here. What's that toad, man?
Dried frog pills. Here we go.
We were trying the toad chewing gum, but you know.
There are some seriously strange people out there. It's the fact that some genius thought, I know what, wouldn't this be a good idea? I think that's the bit that's doing my head in.
Sharing the licked toad might spread COVID. This won't do it that way. It's COVID safe.
From Jim, your Valley accent is totally awesome.
The once obscure practice of smoking toad venom, a potent psychedelic drug that can cause users to encounter themselves as God. Dude, I met God and he was me.
Yeah.
is
Just be
steadily
thankful Dodge isn't around to do this,
is
okay?
steadily
I'm
creeping
saying.
into the mainstream as celebrities endorse its healing powers. The venom, which is found in the Bufo alvarius toads, and contains the chemical 5-MeO-DMT. That sounds like DDT, doesn't it?
Yep.
Has been touted as, by some of its purveyors as a miracle cure for mental health issues such as depression and PTSD, as well as a substance addiction.
Mm.
Testimonial from Mike Tyson.
Because that'll make all the difference.
Earlier this week, legendary boxer Mike Tyson, 55, credited the venom known as Bufo with helping him kick a dangerous cocaine habit and lose more than 100 pounds in less than 3 months. Weight loss cure. Smoke some toad, lose some weight.
I'm going to say it. I actually support what they're doing, but I think they should change it from that toad to the arrowroot tree frog. Because I think that would be a really, really good thing to go around and lick. Because it would deal with these people very, very
You
suddenly.
can't lick the toad because that spreads COVID. You gotta smoke the toad. Give me a flipper, dude. Give me a flipper. Speaking at a conference in Miami, he claimed he died during his first trip and said that the drug has provided him with an entirely different perspective on life. I did it as a dare.
Wow.
And a hold my beer moment. Mike Tyson revealed. He recalled of his first note, I was doing heavy drugs like cocaine, so why not? It's another dimension. Before I did the toad, I was a wreck. The toughest opponent I ever faced was myself. I had low self-esteem. People with big egos often have low self-esteem. We use our egos to subsidize that. The toad strips the ego.
Yeah.
I got to admit, it would be... Now, for those who have never heard Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson has a very high voice. All right.
Yes.
Counter to his looks, he does not have that deep voice that you expect from certain people, like James Earl Jones, right? James Earl Jones has that voice, from God, very similar to like Morgan Freeman and
Yeah.
who is that guy, the singer Barry White and
Yep.
some of those people, right? Mike Tyson's voice is like this.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson sounds like he's a 6-year-old. All right, it's just an aspect of people's voices. It happens, right? I mean, you have there are a lot of people that have voices that don't match their appearance, right? I knew somebody that had a very deep voice, and she was this petite little thing, right? Somewhat cute, right? And then you heard her speak, and it was like, "Hi, I'm Alice." It was like, holy shit. You're expecting this. Hi, I'm this bubbly little. Hi, I'm Alice. Like, holy crap! What the hell happened?
Yep. Walking away.
In my trips, I've seen that death is beautiful. Life and death both have to be beautiful, but death has a bad rep. The toad taught me that I'm not going to be here forever. There's an expiration date.
I don't even know where to go with this. I really don't.
All worship the hypnotoad. That's a hypnotoad, folks.
Yep.
The hypnotoad in real life. Futurama has come to stay. Substantial risks. Many other people who have taken the drug, which is considered the most powerful psychedelic on the planet, attest that it's helped them to shift anxiety, social awkwardness, and has reset their brains, or even when you're worshiping the toad like Mike Tyson, I would have to say, yeah, I can believe it resets your brain, all right. Most of us would consider that frying the brain, but if you want to say it's a
Yeah.
reset, that's okay.
Yeah. I just want to point out that they are suggesting that you have this PTSD. Can we see where this could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, and even help them become more spiritual, less fearful of death. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
As soon as you have the whole thing of less fearful for death, the military
You know
goes.
something's bad.
The military's like, huh? What was that? Whoa, hold on here.
Oh, we'd like to get involved now, thank you. Yep.
Believe this is your COVID vaccine shot. Why am I smoking it? Why does trust us? This is to protect you from COVID-19. Why does it say toad?
No, do you know that they would actually pay some genius to come up what toad actually stands for them? You know that, don't you? Totally ordinary anti-disease syndrome. There you go.
Anti-death.
Oh, yeah. Oh, anti-death, yeah, it'll work.
Acceptance death. I mean, anyway. Few studies have been conducted with the drug, but some trials on the synthetic version of 5-MeO-DMT have indicated that it may indeed be an effective medicine for the treatment of resistant depression. For treatment-resistant depression. Really. Are you still depressed? Yes. Give him the toad. Walk into this room. Why is it whoa, dude.
Yeah. You know what? It occurs to me, we should have actually done this while Memes was around. He would have loved it. Wouldn't he?
I don't know if he'd like smoking the toad, because I don't think he's into that kind of... Wait a minute, these are amphibians. Were they on that list? Were they on that list of protected sentience?
See, the British are already trying to save people's lives while you lot are going around smoking toads.
Additionally, though, what the likes of Mike Tyson, Hunter Biden... Hunter Biden was on this. Oh, boy, we got some...
Oh, that explains far too much.
You know, I was a wreck, I was on drugs, I was having a bad time. I smoked toad, and now, look, I paint.
Yeah.
Christina Hack failed to mention that there is also a number of dangers associated with the drug. No kidding.
I'm shocked.
While toad venom is not any more powerfully physically dangerous than other psychedelics,
mm-hmm.
It is more powerful, which comes with a substantial risk of its own. Speaking to The Sun, Martin W. Ball, PhD, who is a non-dual educator, author, and host of Ethogenic Evolution podcast, stressed the drug's potency and said it can mess with one's entire concept of reality. And let me see.
Really?
You have Christina Hack, all right, Mike Tyson, and Hunter Biden. People who, before they took the toad, would be known as grounded in reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know what to say about this. This one is just seriously out there. Okay. Toads.
The MEO-DMT is so profound and unique that it can't really be compared with other psychedelics, and it's in a class of its own, Ball said. Within seconds of inhaling the smoke or vapor, the subjective experience is that of one dying. if an individual can choose to let go and surrender into this process, then there's the possibility of having a full, non dual experience of absolute oneness.
What point do people not realize how dangerous this is?
Now,
I'm just.
I'm beginning to wonder, hey, Martin, how many times have you done Toad? All right? This has to be asked.
I think we can safely say once too often.
However, if any part of the ego does not let go and surrender and deeply allow the experience to unfold, it can be extremely traumatic, difficult, frightening. It can have long-lasting effects that are difficult to integrate.
No shit.
Such lasting effect, according to Ball, can leave one questioning their own sanity, perception, and the very experience of reality itself.
Yes. Heck, good luck to them if that's what they want to do. If this is their... This shows how bad their life really is, that they actually want to go around smoking Toad. Good luck to them. They're idiots, but good luck to them.
While it can be blissful, says Ball, right, it can be extremely destabilizing, even when someone has a positive experience. How many people are truly ready to meet themselves as God, he added. And that's not an overstatement or hyperbole. This is what we're dealing with here, and it should not be treated accordingly. You're alone. I think Ball has had this for a while. The substance is not currently legal in the United States, but is widely available in Mexico and Canada.
Does that tell you something?
What a surprise!
Yeah.
It's claimed that the practice of licking or inhaling bufo toad venom has been around since the Middle Ages, but it regained popularity as part of the 1960s counterculture movement.
It turns you to hippie as well, just to really grind it in. Awesome.
And it's currently experiencing another resurgence of sorts following endorsements of the likes of Mike Tyson. I don't think Mike Tyson is causing people to go, hey, dude, I gotta try that. Mike said it's okay. Be like Mike, man. I don't think people are taking freaking advice from Mike Tyson on anything. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Both Dr. Ball and Dr. Dow explained that bufo trips typically last around 20 minutes, far less than other psychedelics such as LSD. and the drug kicks in almost instantly. It really blasts you off with an experience of instant ego death, feeling totally body and formless. What the hell is that?
You thought hippies were bad. Okay, just saying. You thought hippies were bad. Now we've come up with this stroke of genius. Yeah.
It only lasts an average of about 20 minutes. It helps people feel more connected. You just said it makes them feel formless. How are they connecting to anything? What the hell are you talking about? Oh my god.
I have no idea what to say about this, but yeah, this is crazy.
You want to know how to stop this?
Nuke the whole area.
No. There's an easy way to stop
okay.
Tell them that they use this in gay conversion therapy. That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, that would work. Disturbingly.
You gotta understand Alex. You gotta understand Alex Jones's comments. You know, they turned to the frogs gay. No, you got it wrong, dude. That's right. It's a plot by the frogs. The, the toads are trying to stop them. The frogs are trying to turn you gay. The toads are trying to turn you anti-gay.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what to say. This is weird. Yeah.
Well, Jensen,
Well,
that's the final story. I don't have anything else.
yeah.
I think I've been talking for too long anyway. How long has that been going on?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever feel a bit confused, go smoke a toad. It will sort out everything you need to worry about.
Drink a little toad, a little magic toad powder.
Hey, dude, you got some toad? Yeah.
It does explain all the
But
Disney
so,
shit with frogs and toads lately.
does actually, doesn't it? Well, thank you very much, everybody,
the
for
Disney Toad Princess.
listening. Thanks so very much.
Shrek had it wrong. He should have smoked it down.
I think it broke Nomad. Yeah, it broke Nomad. Well,
if you want to try this, man.
Say Mr. Toad has got a lot to answer for.
How's your
Wind in the
dad?
Willows.
Oh man, I should have tried Dad a long time ago.
Well, people, I'll speak to you all later. Thank you very much for listening to us. And thank you very much, Nomad, for your fascinating input. Bye-bye, everyone.
Oh,
And